I'm a visualization scientist. I basically try to come up with ways of explaining complex science stories through the visuals and developing artwork and illustrations that actually can help explain the science story to people.
Heart nebulas, celestial collisions, a bird's eye view of the Milky Way, astronomers are charting the outer reaches of the cosmos and bringing back jaw-dropping images from telescopes like Hubble and its infrared cousin Spitzer. If you look down at the bottom of that Milky Way image, you'll see these two words: artist concept. And the TRAPPIST-1 star system, the latest discovery of 7 potentially habitable exoplanets that made national headlines, it's really only a box of gray and white pixels. You see, space art is part of NASA, and it has been since before we went to the moon. Most begins with data. Very, very complex data. And transforming these numbers and graphs into an image that captures the public's imagination requires a delicate balance between science and art. And that is where Robert comes in. As an astronomer and artist, Robert isn't editing images so much as he's making an artistic hypothesis grounded in facts, so we can visualize what's really happening up there. And for objects we haven't even seen yet, like TRAPPIST-1, the artist rendition is a meticulous process.
The first day I saw the data plot of the light curve from the TRAPPIST-1 star, my jaw dropped because it was just a forest of deep dips in the light curve, and we knew there was a whole flurry of activity.
This data doesn't look like much to the untrained eye, but the depth of the dip reveals the size of the planet. All of this information is critical, so Robert can paint the right picture. 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 TRAPPIST-1, Robert takes the scientific limitations seriously because the wrong color could be very misleading.
You would think that complete accuracy would be the goal when you're doing astronomical illustrations, but it isn't always the case.
Carl Sagan once famously said of Chesley, "I didn't know what other worlds looked like until I saw Bonestell's paintings." His work was so widely acclaimed that his illustrations accompanied articles written by German rocket scientist Wernher von Braun, which ultimately inspired the American space program.
Many of the things that seem impossible now will become realities tomorrow.
Having a visual response to technical triumphs was something NASA latched onto early on. For over 50 years, NASA worked closely with artists and creative leaders like Walt Disney and Norman Rockwell to help shape the stories of spaceflight. To help shape the stories of spaceflight. To help shape the stories of spaceflight. And better tools to imagine what far-off worlds might look like if we could visit them.
There are people who just look and think, oh, NASA's photographed a planet, and they don't understand that actually that was a piece of art. On the other hand, if we don't do that, and we don't put a piece of compelling artwork, then people may never even look at the story anyway. And I like to think that in 50 years, when people come back and look at, say, the various pictures of exoplanets after maybe we actually finally know what they look like, they might wink and smile to each other like, oh, that's so funny, they thought there was water on that one.
Turns out 50 years later was an overestimate. So much of what we thought we knew about TRAPPIST-1 just changed. Which means Robert, for instance, back in 2017, scientists thought planet D was rocky, but it turns out it has the lowest density of the 7, and it's actually a water world.